Here we are again.
We're back.
Another On Purpose chat.
I'm excited.
Back on the studio.
Back in the studio.
Let's go.
In the Matrix?
Yeah, back home. Back home. We've been out of here for a while, trying to make things live. The last time we recorded something was, we recorded outside because the environment spoke louder. That was cool.
Which it did. It was informing.
Yeah. I don't think we're ever coming back here. Why are we here, Jordan? Tell him before we start.
We were filming the intros to a masterclass.
That's it. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
But and then we decided, let's just do this here.
Yeah.
Easy. Man, this is going to be such a variety of sets anyway.
We got so much going on
this channel. Yeah. So when we went out last time, we recorded two videos, two sessions. One of them was about the blue zones that went up live on YouTube, and it's a good video. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it. And then the second one was supposed to be a video about illusions. What happened to that video, Jordan? Be honest. Just be honest, bluntly honest.
Yeah, we got trigger happy. We got a bit carried away, and it's just such a big topic. There was so much to cover, and it was the first time filming outside. We had real world interruptions. It's like all the five senses were heightened. So we were all very just like, this environment's very stale. So you can stay focused. But when we had people interrupting and we had a whole bunch of things going on, what we set out to achieve just never came to fruition.
And we are creatives, so we want the interruptions.
Exactly.
So what Jordan just said is a very nice, polite, polished way of saying the video was trash.
It sucked.
It was rubbish. And we couldn't save it.
No.
Like Jordan, you worked on it for
a couple hours
and it's like, nah, this is not salvageable. Let's throw it away. And then we did. Let's just throw it away. So I took it home. I was like, let me have a look. And I found a few bits that could be maybe shorts, right? A minute videos. And I think it's such a waste of time to work on shorts and reels because it's such a short attention span and there's no quality of information.
Yeah.
And then we had this idea of talking about the mistake we made, talking about the errors that were presented to us. And in that idea, we developed this, which is a few clips.
It's great because there's plenty of gold in here. It's just we couldn't stitch it together. So talking about it and extracting the gold, it's the best way to do it.
That's it. So on the Pedro On Purpose channel, all of these videos are there, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, no purpose of any performance whatsoever. It's just, it's there it's saved as in a hard drive. But we're going to talk about this. And the first part of that video on illusions was about an illusion of time. So should we, let's play the video.
Let's jump in.
And they'll watch it and we'll comment on it, what we really wanted to say. They didn't come out on the video. We will talk about it. All right.
Time is a bit of an illusion. I like to call it the eternal now. Who invented time? Time is something that we built. Time doesn't really exist. If you really think about that, the way we count how many times the earth goes around and all of that, there was an invention. There was an illusion. And we sort of conformed to that. But if you learn how to live on the suspended time, you will enjoy every single moment. Think about past and future. Past, like you can't live in the past. And you can't live in the future either. That's anxiety. You only have the present. Like you need to learn how to live on a suspended time. Be present eternally. I believe that when we go to heaven or wherever you think you're going to go, that's your state. You're eternally there. Time, suspended time. That's the concept. You have to learn how to step away of time and get in control of your own life. Like not the 8-hour shift or the 30-minute lunch. Or this is absurd. You can live chronologically or you can live ontologically. Chronologically, you believe in counting the days, celebrating your birthdays, waiting for your death. Ontologically, you live in right now. You understand this is all you got. There's no past, there's no future. It's who you are right now. Science says that people remember 2% of their lives. You know when you die, that little thing that is on top of your grave, it's like 75 centimeters. That's all you have. Your life needs to be summarized in 75 centimeters, one sentence. Who are you? What's your identity? That's like people will recognize and acknowledge who you were in 75 centimeters. Have you ever thought about that? Look, it doesn't matter how you come to think of this, religiously, spiritually, philosophically. You know, they say happiness is not found somewhere else. Happiness is found within. When you go deep, understand who you really are, what you were created to be, and how God created you, how God wired you, that's when you find happiness. That's when you find joy. Joy is in who you are, not what you do or what you have.
That's it. That's good.
Talking about what you have. Let's talk about the illusion of materialism, the illusion of quantity.
That's a different thing anyway.
Wow.
So that was good.
So much in there.
What did you think about that?
I love the snippets, man. There's a few things that challenged me. I don't know if I want to jump straight into the things that challenged me, but the gravestone one, that gripped me, man. That was a real mortality, facing mortality.
Yeah.
And the reality. I think right off the bat, though, the conversation of time and stepping outside of time, Pedro says that so simply because he's done that.
Yeah, have I? I don't know.
I think you have.
I think I have. I think I have. And not to any credit. It's just maybe it's time, experience, perspective. Coming from a different country, you always say it helps. You know, when I throw some things out there, you go like, that's a different perspective.
Yeah,
it's something that sometimes I take for granted because it's just natural. I do come from a different culture. I love that. Let me admit, even in that clip, 3 minutes, there's like 4 subjects. So I could be that kind of person that just goes all over the place. That's why when we sit down, it's just like I love having conversations like that.
Yeah.
It's misunderstood. They say every genius is misunderstood. So I'm not calling myself a genius though. No, but it's like when we were studying Psalms, for example, we're just going all over the place, you know. And hopefully at the end, if people stick around to the end, they'll see the message. That's the purpose for this conversation, is to be bluntly honest, to say, look, we didn't communicate what we wanted, but this is what we wanted. So yes, the concept of the grave is beautiful. I'm in a season of my life where I'm starting to see more funerals than birthday parties. So we go like, oh wow, this is weird. You know, we have to face that. Most people don't live with the perspective that things are gonna end. Death is at the door, you know. So that's one. But what I wanted to talk about too, was the time concept, the suspended time. Let me see if I can do this in 3 or 4 minutes, and then we can discuss. I'm watching a TV series called The Yellowstone, and I'm not gonna get emotional because it's a different deal. But it's a beautiful TV series. My wife and I were watching, and last night we had a scene there where the main character is talking to his dad and having memories and all of that. So I'm pretty sure that played a role in my wife's brain, and we went to bed about 1 o'clock in the morning because we keep watching stuff and like, oh my gosh, we gotta go to bed. When we woke up this morning, I woke up at 5, slept very little, but my wife woke up crying, and she said she had a dream. So this is a dream. She said she dreamed of having a little baby, size of 2 hands, and we were going somewhere, so she handed it over to our sister-in-law and said, hey, can you just look after the baby for a few hours? I'll be back. When we came back, she went to get the baby, and in the dream, she remembers that the baby looked like my daughter's. So when we came back, she's like, oh, where's my baby daughter? And she's like, what baby daughter? My sister-in-law said, what baby daughter? There's no baby daughter here. And in that very moment, she said that her heart skipped a beat. And she woke up desperate, crying. But then the desperation on that cry moved on to a nostalgic cry. And she had memories. And she was like, she was crying, and she turned to me and said, I miss when our kids were babies. And I said to her, like, what's to say that that's not real? And when you said that I have lived that, I get emotional about a few things, but that didn't move me, because in that video, I said that I don't miss the memories from my daughters because I was there. I was lucky enough, blessed enough to be there, present. And it's stored up in here. So philosophically speaking, your imagination is just as real as what you call reality. Because in that moment, literally, her heart skipped a beat because of something she was thinking. It was a memory. And the reason why she was sad is because she cannot accept that her memories are as valid as her reality.
Wow.
She can't accept it. And I was like, but honey, it is just as real. It's a memory, probably triggered by the movie that we watched last night. Nevertheless, that doesn't discredit. It's a memory. It's stored up in your brain. And your brain is the computer that stores that. You lived that. And if you suspend yourself out of time, you can easily go back to that time and look at our daughters being 12, 15, 20, or 30, or 40 and relive that moment just as real as reality. So people who are addicted to ecstasy, for example, will say that's your hype. That's your when you're high.
Yeah, wow.
You live in that. But who's to say that's not real?
Well, I mean, the fact that you were there qualifies you almost to go back there.
Yeah. Now here's the real message hidden behind it.
Right.
The Bible says that God has put eternity in man's heart. I like to think of this concept. We miss a home that we have never been in. Because you didn't come from heaven. You were created. You didn't come from heaven. Only Jesus came from heaven down to earth. We were created. Our origin is organic. It's biological.
From the dirt.
Yes. And the biology is indwelt by a spirit that is breathed by God.
Yeah.
So mankind is the only one that's breathed in. So we were created. We didn't navigate. We didn't travel. You know, there's a different religion in Brazil called Catholicism. Comes from France, and they believe in reincarnation.
Right.
And they say the people living on Earth they are like exiled from this different planet, which is, I mean, respect to them, but biblically speaking, that's not true.
Yeah.
Hebrews 9:27 says that your man is only allowed to live once, and then there's judgment. But we do, in your heart, everyone who has had an encounter with God, whatever that encounter was, you miss home because this is not home.
Yeah.
Peter says that. You know, we are sojourners on this earth. So the concept of suspended time is more spiritual than any other concept you can imagine. Even your own faith, your spirituality, your Bible reading, your devotional, understanding the concept of suspended time, the eternal now, as we start the video, is the most spiritual journey you can go on.
I can see how it's freeing. I can see how that perspective really unlocks and sets you free, even through tribulations and struggles, or even dealing with trauma. I can see how that can really shift things. What do you think about the phrase, home is where the heart is? And it's a bit of a shallow phrase.
Yeah, well, the heart is deceitful. Heart of man is deceitful.
Right.
So we can develop feelings and feelings of attachment because we want to be attached to, we want to belong. This is all biological, right? We are tribal beings in biology, but we are spiritual beings, and our unity is broken. Oh my gosh, our unity with God is broken because of sin.
Yeah.
Jesus is the redemptive way back to God. When you read Revelation, it says we don't need no temple, we don't need no son, because we have become one with God. And what was Jesus' final prayer on John 17? I pray that you become one as me and as I and the Father are one. So God has a journey. God has a purpose to mankind, according to what we believe, which is a redemptive purpose. He comes down to us. But our purpose is to make our way back to Him. Like the raindrops fall their way back to the source, we live our lives on our way back to God. Everyone does. And the problem with the people who don't find God in their very limited time here, their life is empty. And then the feeling of desperation that my wife woke up with knocks on the door, and they get lost. But if you learn how to suspend yourself out of time, like think about this. They say, enjoy, there is no more tears, no more suffering, no more pain. What are these things? These are representations of our humanity, our brokenness. Because a whole person doesn't need to cry for sadness. A whole person doesn't bleed. That's the concept. In heaven, the eternal now is an eternal pleasure. Whatever that looks like, if we work, we don't, if we have showers or don't, if the water is hot or cold in the shower in heaven, I don't know. But the eternal now is, I can bet on it. The eternal now is my wife in that dream with my baby in her hands before she hands over. That joy is heaven.
Man. So there's a choice that we have to have though, like the decision to choose to think and believe that way.
Yeah. As hypocritical as this sounds, because I understand we can't measure people's pain. That's immeasurable. Someone might have just kicked a curb and hurt his toe and call it the worst day of their lives, while someone is battling cancer stage 4. We know a girl back home who's battling cancer all throughout her body and other diseases at the same time, and she's making an effort to glorify God throughout the journey. So, Two different pains, 2 different ends of the spectrum, but we can't judge.
Yeah.
Because we're not that person. Each person is individually constructed. But if the choice that we have to make, as hypocritical as that sounds, I understand that people will hate it when I say this. The choice that we have to make is to ignore our feelings. Your feelings are fleshly. Your feelings are part of your biology. There is no such a thing as feeling. The love, the joy, the happiness, the sadness, the depression, all of these things are human experiences.
Yeah, well, if I reflect on my life when I've lived for feelings, by feelings, it's a spiral, never-ending cycle of being unfulfilled.
Yeah. Because you always want more. Because what do feelings bring? Dopamine. And you want more. Biologically speaking, you want more dopamine. Now, again, we're going off the tangent. But last thing I'm going to say about suspended time, totally out of context. I am using the Bible because we're Christians. I understand if you're not. I'm sure there are other sources that you can do the same reference. But remember when people wanted to trick Jesus and they said, here's this woman. She's been married, I think, 7 times. A brother took over and the other brother took over, because in the Jewish culture, if you're married and your husband dies, someone in the family has to take over so you're not empty-handed. That's your way of retirement for the women, because women wouldn't go to school or whatever. It's a Jewish thing. So they say when she dies and when she goes to heaven, they didn't even understand the concept of heaven, but let's go that way. When she goes to heaven, to the bosom of Abraham or whatever they call it, whose wife is she going to be? Because she's had 7 husbands here. And Jesus says this, you guys don't understand it. In heaven, we don't get married and we're not given into marriage. Now, people think that Jesus is talking about in heaven we're all going to be single. We're all going to be lonely. We're only going to be looking at God and all of that. If you understand a little bit more of how the scriptures are read in the original language, the nuances behind the Aramaic language, which is a dead language, I don't claim to understand it, but just the little bit that I understand about Hebrew and how it's written and the intention behind the message to the original audience, who were the disciples of Jesus and the Pharisees there, the people in the Bible. If you understand it, what Jesus is trying to say is this: you're asking the wrong question. I have an answer, but you're asking the wrong question. The question is not whose wives is she's going to be. The question is where is she going to find pleasure, where she's going to find joy, where she's going to find fulfillment.
Wow, I can see that. It's almost like redefining the level of success or fulfillment.
Yeah. Why do you think Jesus never got married? It's a human experience. Why do you think Paul said, if you can, don't get married? Because it's a human experience. Feelings are human experiences. Our spiritual being is beyond feelings. God is not good or evil. God is not, he's always right. I was going to say right or wrong, but he's always right. But like good, bad, sad, happy, these are human emotions. Yeah. And we do this anthropomorphic exercise, which is try to give God human characteristics so we can try to understand God. But guess what? If I understand, then it's not God. Because it fits my brain. And my brain is a created thing. by a creator. So anyway, we've gone a different tangent, but what I wanted to share on that video is, if you understand the concept of suspended time, it's likely that, you know, if all things work well, and if it's nothing biological, if it's not an unbalance of hormones, and obviously people go through tragedy. I'm not saying that you're going to be smiling if someone is on a wretched accident. No, it's okay to feel emotions, but the spiritual being in us thirsts for suspended time. In heaven, there is no chronological time. There's no past, no future. It's their moment, eternally, forever. We don't even know how to explain forever. Just the same as we don't know how to explain nothing. We don't know what nothing is. The closest we can get to nothing is a no thing. But even a no thing is represented by some thing. Because we have to put the thing in there to define it. We don't know what nothing is. Because nothing is beyond our comprehension. It's, again, too deep, but...
We are in the matrix.
Anyway, suspended time. That is high value in that one.
Oh, man. I just look forward to getting to a place where I can always walk and think like that.
Maybe we'll get to a point where we record this suspended time again. I think people should understand that.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
Let's move on.
Okay. The second video, what's the second video? I think the second video is about the students in the school.
Yeah. Before we play, I'm going to make sure that we have enough run time.
Okay.
But we can pause this, which is great.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe this is one chat.
Just in case. Maybe.
Okay. Well, let's finish this up. This is one chat about suspended time.
Yeah, let's do it.
We hope you guys enjoy it. It's part of a video that we did wrong. It did not work. I'm pretty sure this is not going to work either, because we've gone all over the place. But at least this channel is intentionally made for this.
Yeah. I mean, as a young guy myself, I'm finding value in even the thought process. You know, I've been challenged, and I hope you guys are challenged as well.
Yeah. So if you guys want more resources, Eckhart Tolle, The Eternal Now, it's a book that he talks about that. I would call it shallow theology for those who want to go deep, but this is just because I don't have better words. The guy's a genius, but it's not a theological book. It's more ideological, philosophical book.
Right.
So yeah, Eckhart Tolle, The Eternal Now. It's a good book to read about that.
Okay. Cool.
All right. See you on the next.
Yeah, sorry, bro.